All right, yeah, let's fast travel down to Broken Bridge, and we're going to aim at the next main story point right... Whoops. There. Similar to hiding his dual-wield sneaky rogue character. She's probably very good at hiding. I would think. Now, it has been a minute since we have been in this part of the world, so... Nope, that's... I wanted to mark this point of interest on our way. Similar, I hope you had a great meal. Similar to saying she's so good at stealth she can turn herself invisible with an action. I'm trying to think of like other like big RPG characters. In the BioWare...
What awaits us next?
Won't be easy. We've lost an ally and a friend. And the nightmare is all around.
I think we're heading into the Harrows now. But yeah, Sam Melander, we were talking about, like, RPG characters that... Like, classes, specifically. And in... Jade Empire, that was the name of it. Jade Empire was the sort of Eastern mythology, kung fu... RPG that BioWare did, and in that one, I don't remember if it had a name, and it probably did, but my memory is that I was an open hand, like really fast punch guy. Like, not big onto the... Are you kidding? Okay. Not big into the, like, haymaker, big heavy strikes, but really quick strikes. Which is oftentimes the way that I like to play melee characters. You may not do a lot of damage in any one hit, but you're gonna get hit a whole bunch. Sam Lander says the meal was acceptable. Before we head down there, let's just shoot this down.
We won't be going this way.
This country needs better bridges, or it will come to nothing.
Just making sure that we don't have a teleport point. But yeah, what Crow was saying about like a spell sword, that's an archetype. We were talking about that in a previous episode of Banishers here. That's an archetype that I've always wanted to try. Divinity Original Sin 2, Cleric. I don't know why. That was the one that I was like, I've always wanted to play a cleric. So that was deep into cleric skills. I did not do a good job of building my character. There were some subtleties to the RPG system that slipped right by my...
Harrows.
An imaginative name.
There's a ring to it.
Right by my understanding. But in terms of like, I'm going to have a character who is very heavily armored and hits things with a big round metal ball on the end of a long stick.
I know.
And that is exactly what she did. I'd like to say what I played in like Knights of the Old Republic, but I absolutely do not remember what the character classes were. Like Sentinel is in my head, but that may not be accurate. I do remember that I played the same character class in both KOTOR 1 and 2. With the difference being in KOTOR 2, they had more options to build a dexterity-based melee, like, lightsaber fighter. So you could basically get your full dexterity bonus on your defenses and your to-hit and your damage, which was rather more than you could get...
Kiss for you.
Okay. In the first KOTOR, dexterity was to hit, like your chances of landing a blow. Strength was how heavy of a blow you hit, because as everybody knows, lightsabers, like you have to swing really, really hard in order to do damage with them. And then dexterity would also have some defensive bonuses, or you could get into some armor. Well, in KOTOR 2, you could usually wear that armor and also apply a pretty sizable defensive bonus from being very dexterous, very agile, very nimble, and then also get the 2-hit, like be able to hit everything, and then also apply that dexterity bonus to your damage multiplier, or your damage bonus, which made, in my experience, dexterity-based builds in KOTOR 2 very lethal. I think from a very early point in the game, I was facing off against enemies that statistically would not survive past the moment that my lightsaber was ignited. And it allowed me to very much get into the story. I did not set out with the desire to break the game, but I took a look at the skill tree and was like, I have an idea, and the idea worked very well. Okay, so this is a nest. We want to do the nest because we are going to get some nest silt for it.
Swarming specters. Force them to appear with the right words of power.
So Salamander is, and maybe Crow will know as well, because Crow played as a rogue.
No step from the shadows.
Is stealth fun to use, like, in combat and stuff in that game? Like, stealth is extremely fun to use in Thief and Dishonored and... Ow. Games that are designed for stealth. Sometimes if stealth is a...
Get rid of the other specter first.
Sit down.
Sometimes if stealth is a feature... Oh boy. It's just trying to talk over the characters.
Change tack. Did we miss a few?
Okay, but don't stand in the double explosion.
Spectre, going for a meat suit.
Okay.
That one is shielded.
Where? Oh. What I was trying to say is sometimes in a game where stealth is one of many different combat or traversal considerations, it's just implemented in a way that requires a lot of careful foreknowledge. Sorry, a lot of foreknowledge and then careful setup. Like, oh, okay, so there's going to be a fight here, so let me make sure that I go into stealth first, and you know, now I know that I need to move my person over there. That can sometimes that works really well and it makes you feel really powerful. Other times that level of setup can come off as it just grows a little bit tedious by the third or fourth time that you're like methodically setting it up. So it depends on how responsive you can be with slipping in and doing some hot backstab damage. Oh, Crow loves it. Super fun, she says. And Salamander was saying, in Baldur's Gate 3, yes. Salamander's agreeing that it's super useful. Crow says, in her first full playthrough, she managed to backstab and kill a major enemy. Salamander says, I haven't found stealth tedious at all. Crow's saying, one that caused me a great deal of difficulty on my next run, though. Oh, so on the second run, it was much harder because you didn't have access to that, like, super skill. Yeah, so another like, archetype that I've never played. I talked about the dual-wielding rogue. I've never done a ranged rogue. I've always wanted to do like a sniper or an archer in general, and that's why I was sort of leaning a little bit more towards ranger. I was sort of thinking doing an Azuric-style character. Probably not Azuric himself, because he's busy with Wildermyth, but like an Azaric style character. That's sort of like general skill set. Like, you can see even in this game and in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I specifically went with, like, let's use more ranged abilities, because I sort of know how melee works in Assassin's Creed. Let me give a shot at the range combat. And in this, I love using the gun. I specifically like it when I can mix the gun into, like, a melee combo. Okay, I'm just making sure that we're generally on the right track. Yeah, you guys, I think that when they say that we're going to the Harrows, it's not so that we can immediately make our way east. I think we get to do all this story stuff. Alright, that is a smashed boat. Dawn is doing a Dark Urge playthrough.
A dock.
An underground landing. Interesting.
Over there? Well, I see a spirit orb. Oh, by the way, that's not a spirit orb. The other thing that I noticed in the map was that's a soul grabber. I'm still going to call it a spirit orb. Yeah, Dawn Evil was saying that she's actually doing a Dark Urge playthrough. I think that's one of the characters. So one fun thing about me is that this was the same thing when I did Divinity Original Sin 2 as well. I didn't want to watch the little character intros specifically because I didn't want to have knowledge that I wasn't supposed to have about them, because I knew they would be characters available in the game.
Here all that time ago.
Something illicit, no doubt.
You guys, we have a map for this place. The big, long Washington Monument. Inside a big ravine. I don't know. Is it going to be under quest items? Oh my god. Let's take a look around, because it might just present itself. But this is... I've been keeping one eye out for, like, a long wooden tower. Oh, that's not punchable. But I really feel like we're near it. Let's go to quest items. Yeah, it's like a super weird thing. Like, just for clarity, Larian plainly expects you to watch all of those character intros to sort of, like, get the Cliff Notes version of what somebody's backstory is, and then decide if you want to play as one of the origin characters, or if you want to create your own. And the thing is, this is entirely personal to me. I'm very hesitant to do that because I sort of want to encounter... It might be under collectibles as well, because I'm not seeing any maps in here at all. I sort of want to learn about the characters as I encounter them, and then decide who I like, who I don't like, you know, follow their stories through, and learn about them in a way, you know, that seems harmonious with the actual narrative. But that said, I probably shouldn't do that. I don't see anything. Special items, maybe? These look like maps. Okay, here we go. And this is the one. So the only issue is that the one that I'm thinking of appears to be open sky. And also has sort of like a pathway. It's not a big open plain. So I actually don't think that... Maybe, like, the top part of this, because you can also see the top of this, and I cannot see the top from here. So that's why I wanted to pull up the map. I don't think that I'm correct that it's down here. Dawn has Original Sin 2 as well. Yeah, so again, my take on Original Sin 2 is that it is a very good game with some primary gameplay...
Red, come and look. Do you know this sign?
Some primary gameplay mechanics that are not super well explained.
Company of 100 Associates. I believe it was a new French trading company, before you or I were born.
The cave has been abandoned for a while then.
Aye. It was probably a French smuggler's den.
Okay, there's a lot happening in this area. There's a spirit orb up there. There's a smashable down here.
More efficient than cannon powder.
But yeah, I should... Oops. I don't know why I'm suddenly switching to the wrong character. I should probably let completely go of that, and I will say this. My decision to not look into the character backstories for Divinity Original Sin 2... Oops. Did not in any way detract from the story. And I found it... Like, I felt it very natural to engage with the characters that way. That said, it's very plainly not what you're supposed to do, so I should probably take a look at the... Wow, we found a straight-up new decoction in there. It was... Healing shot, there we go. Worse in every respect. Hitting a weak spot with the rifle restores 7 points of, health. 7%. Yeah, if I had Divinity Original Sin 2 to, like, live over again, like, if I was to, like... Well, what am I saying? When I started, like... When I wanted to revisit it, I straight up looked online for some character build guides and, like, how are you supposed to play this game successfully? And that was when I realized how far off the mark my original playthrough was in terms of, like, making smart character decisions. Now, I really don't think that that's laziness. I think that there's some inartful wording on how some of the attributes work, and the good thing about Original Sin 2 is that you can, from a relatively early point, relatively early in the game, you can respec at will, and I think it's, like, completely for free. So it's not the sort of game where your mistakes will haunt you for all time and now I have to start a new game. It is the sort of game where you might not realize even that you've made mistakes and just feel like, man, this game is really hard. Like, really hard. And then, like I said, when I was revisiting it, I looked up, so what was I supposed to have done? And then I built a character that way and was like, oh yeah, this is way more manageable. So, as happens when this topic comes up, because Original Sin 2 is a big favorite for people, I am not dumping on Original Sin 2. I am saying that there should be absolutely no shame, especially for that game, in looking up a character build guide to sort of get at least a rough sense of what some of those... what some of those attributes mean. So I am exploring the cave. We've gone up, we've gone down, we've shot maybe 3 spirit orbs since we got in here. We looked in here, and we found the crate of the company of 100 men. Ah, and here we go. 100 associates. No, this is where I just was, though. And going back up that rope really doesn't make any sense to me. I want to continue exploring this cave. With apologies, I'm going to go back through here again, because I just can't help but feel like I missed something. Dawn says she didn't even make it past the first area. It didn't hold her interest very long. It is... So, Divinity Original Sin 2 is the only Divinity game that I have played. I do not know if... being thoroughly familiar with the other many games in the Divinity franchise would be a huge help in getting more invested in the story. What I was able to do with Original Sin 2 was get like really into the characters. I really liked the characters that were in my party, and I really liked the character that I was. I picked Lohse the cleric, which is not her canonical character class, but somehow still worked really well, which I thought was smart, and went through with some other characters and just had a really good time with it. Okay, so I think we're just leaving then. Or going up the elevator, more specifically. But some of the, like, broader story elements were a little bit cryptic to me, personally.
This one's protected.
Okay.
Standing by.
Like, the characters in the world feel very strongly about a bunch of stuff that might take you a little bit of time to get up to speed on. And it's got some of these, like, subtle details that I really do appreciate, but are, it takes a little bit of time to understand what's happening. One of the examples of that is that elves in the world of Divinity Original Sin 2, isn't it? I think they only speak in the present tense. They seem to have no language, or it's like a translation problem for them to insert, like, past and future tense into the way that they talk. So it can be a little bit difficult to understand them sometimes when everything they say, whether what they mean is this happened 3 weeks ago, or this will, I want you to go do this next, and everything is sort of phrased as what is happening right this minute. If anything, I actually feel like that's kind of a clever way to insert a little bit of, you've got to translate what this person is saying from context, but without inventing a whole new language or coming off as possibly insensitive towards a real world culture. But when it's first happening, you're like, what is... It's not clear at first during your early conversations that that's what's going on, and also it does not apply to all elves. Sibyl, for example, does not talk that way, possibly because the writers, the creators understood that that would be difficult to keep up, and especially if you were playing as Sibyl, that would be like, okay, this feels like a lot of effort. Now, hold on, did I not explore the cave? I just want to double check here, because I feel like I explored the cave. It's no longer marked.
Ceridian's Island is a pleasant place no longer.
Folk will miss her, without ever knowing she was here.
This might have unlocked the big chunk of the map. It sure did. So, why don't we check out this point of interest if we can on the way? The other thing that Original Sin 2 does really, really, really well is, and this is my understanding about Baldur's Gate 3 as well, is that the game world, the characters, the plot events are incredibly reactive to whatever you do. So it's one of those games where you might think that you've come up with a very clever way to break a boss fight, or to bypass a quest line, or to just like speed run through the area without engaging with much of the story. But the game absolutely sees you doing that, and it will have special dialogue.
Move it!
Or journal updates, or other ways that just communicate to you, oh no, the developers knew that you would try this, and then you did, so they are congratulating you on your inventiveness. You didn't break the system, you found an alternate path that was intended by the devs.
done.
Okay. Teleport is not up. Stamler is saying that that has been his experience as well, with the game world sort of like reacting to stuff. And I feel like that's one of the things that first area that you were in, Dawn, depending on like, when you say first area, there's like a tutorial ship, which is where you start, and then you arrive in like the first main area. Do you happen to remember, did you make landfall? Okay, Foundation of New Eden. How is New Eden founded? When? By whom? It never ceases to amaze me how much information from the recent past already fades away in the fog of time. Maybe it has a lot to do with the settlers' lifestyle, mainly focused on their daily and pious routines. Is this nation in the making destined to forget about its past? Is it deeply rooted in my fellow colonists' choice to travel an ocean to forget about their previous and often unpleasant life? I cannot say. But since I believe it is essential to remember the past to forge a better future, I will keep on gathering information about the Foundation of New Eden, even if my curiosity may displease some of my neighbors. I now know for a fact that the little hidden valley was the first discovered by an exploratory party sent from the recently founded town of Boston. In the surrounding hills they found precious ore and metals. Struck by its pristine and beautiful setting, the expedition's leader named the valley New Eden, and with some selected men he decided to install a first settlement while the rest of the expedition went back to Boston to bring back more people and material. This was in 1635, according to Boston's registers. I find it strange that the name of the founder is not known, but this is not uncommon among the myriads of newborn settlements blooming all around the coast at the time. Maybe I should conduct more research about that man, and the next time I have the opportunity to travel to Boston or interrogate some more elders. What is known for sure is that their presence in the valley highly irritated the nearby native tribes, who seemed furious of their presence. I have already found that the local tribes nicknamed the valley, or part of it, the Ill Mouth. Settlers probably refused to leave, since a few skirmishes have sadly been recorded in 1636. Reinforcement was sent from a few Massachusetts Bay colonies, until the native warriors abandoned the area for good. New Eden Colony was officially founded as the blood of the first victim soaked the earth of the not-so-pristine-anymore valley. Not-so-pristine-anymore valley. That's too much. Okay. A first copper mine was opened, then a second, while more white men and women joined the blooming town. In the ancient governor's house, I have found contracts to the building of a first mill by the seashore in 1637, belonging to some Anton and Esther Proctor, who seem to have acted like community leaders for a time before they mysteriously disappeared. Tragic events seem to be quite common around. For that first settlement seems to have rapidly decayed. In less than 2 years, I could not find any trace of trade between New Eden and Boston. No more ore was bought by nearby colonies. Like many similar settlements, the small brigade? I'm not familiar with that word. The small brigade, quickly vanished. The first rumors of a deadly epidemic started to spread around, mixed with weird tales about a swamp quickly growing in the middle of the valley. This should have been sufficient to keep the colonists away, but the rumor of rich mines in the nearby hills has also spread. That's why. Deborah, so it seems a little bit... There's no chance that this is a different Deborah. Deborah Comenius, schoolteacher of New Eden, September 1687. So Deborah, we know that she was a schoolteacher, and now we're learning that she was also very interested in the history of New Eden. It could be these kinds of questions that led her to be accused of witchcraft. She was inquisitive in a way that the other people there started to find nosy and invasive, so they decided to do something about it. Sam Linder also says, I feel like they had a bunch of clever D&D players playtesting the game and writing down whenever they found a new way to do something. And once they did writing stuff for it, then they did writing stuff rather than trying to stop it. Yeah, that sounds like the way that Larian puts together games. But yeah, so I have not played Baldur's Gate 3. I cannot say, whether or not... I cannot compare Divinity Original Sin 2 to Baldur's Gate 3. What I can say is that Divinity Original Sin 2 is not like a, oh, I like Dungeons and Dragons, so I'm going to like
After what
Divinity
happened
Original
at the
Sin 2.
fort, I wonder what awaits us in the Harrows.
No matter the bridge, we can cross it.
Don't get cocky.
Oh, I'm not. I'll be relying on you.
Don't. We're facing a nightmare. Rely on us.
Yeah, so far that nightmare is 2 for 2 against you guys. And also, when he says, whatever the bridge, will cross it. No, Red, you won't. None of the bridges work in New Eden. It's like a running gags. You can face any challenge, you can overcome any obstacle, but you cannot cross any bridge.
There's an angry spectre somewhere nearby. Better summon it.
So, that big footprint looks like a Scourge to me. I'm gonna summon Scourge. This is my last 3 Waxy Kappa-Garrics.
I'm right here. Once more with healing.
You get it! You're angry.
Hold on, we are getting sniped.
Down it goes.
I feel like there's another, like, sniper ghost around, but I'm not seeing it. Like, somebody's doing that.
Get back up!
There it is. I do like that the Bereft Rage occasionally just, like, takes out his own friends. Let's play it as a cover shooter here for a second.
You'll get it next time.
Okay. Hickey's got to take off. Thanks for the stream. Hickey, thank you very much for hanging out. The VOD will be up probably shortly after the stream. And again, we won't be able to go super late tonight. But thank you very, very much for hanging out. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening. We've done everything here. All right, so let's head on towards our quest marker. Is that really it down here? Yeah, okay. This game, it loves its secrets. It loves to have all sorts of things. There's a chest up there. Oh, Antea's real excited.
The landscape here is more pleasant. There are fields and pastures and better weather.
Can you feel the warmer air?
I don't feel it, not really. But I know it's there. If I focus, I can still see the beauty of the world.
I'd be tempted to think the warmer air means a warmer welcome. I suspect I'll be wrong.
Trust that instinct, young apprentice, for it will serve you well.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Small Soldiers? I'm trying to remember if Kirsten Dunst was in that one, but that's the movie with, like, Tommy Lee Jones voices, like, one of the characters. It's the military action figures against the alien-looking action figures, and they get installed with artificial intelligence and come to life and start, like, fighting one another. Or mostly it's the military guys who turn out to be, like, the bad dudes, and then they're up against the others. I did not like this movie. I know that it seems incredibly obvious, but I really thought that the movie was about something more than just selling action figures. It was super about selling those action figures, though. But it did have this, like a couple fun writing points, and one of the ones that always sort of stuck in my head... Hold on. Is at one point one of the action figure characters says to, like, the main kid, look, the military guys, I don't know what they're called, they're lurking in the bushes over there, in the trees. He's like, what are you talking about? That's just the wind. And the action figure had no concept of wind because it doesn't have any nerves. It can't feel the breeze. So it thought that the movement of the leaves indicated that the enemy was over there. This is a subtle but just really clever writing detail that showed that somebody who was working on the script did put some thought into it. This is not really paid off in any other way. There's not a lot of other examples in the movie, but I always remember that one. Somebody stopped for a second to think, like, how would these characters interpret wind? Because they have intelligence but no experience. They're newborns here, and they're not going to process the world around them in the same way. I always really liked that part. And anyway, what suddenly brought that to mind was Antea saying that she can't feel the wind here, but she knows that it's present. Because, of course, she does have the experience of having felt the breeze. Not that I've spent an excessive amount of time thinking about this, but the other thing that I feel like would be disconcerting about being dead, but like being a ghost is what I mean, is that you would... I feel like not having a heartbeat would be a lot more... Like, you're not often aware of your own heartbeat unless, like, you're like, it's beating really hard or fast for some reason.
Suddenly, I can't manifest.
That's not good.
Something magic hinders me.
Yes, we've done Ghost Wards before. And we will destroy the Ghost Ward. There it is.
I'm still hindered. There must be another ward nearby.
But the thing is, like, your heart is always beating. And if it suddenly wasn't, but you were still up and about, I can't...
Sorry. Not this time.
Oh.
Better. Thank you.
These wards look fairly new. A witch?
A Haskell, more likely. Let's be careful.
Okay, we do have a point that we can evolve. I don't know if I actually have a thing that I can spend it on. Let's take a quick look at our upgrades. Yeah, I'll upgrade this. Do I need the nest silt for anything else? That's Scourge Accretion. I would need one more nest sill, and I do really like the punch attack being increased by 50%. And then we got that one. The brooch would give us... I love the double damage, especially on the yell. But that's Scourge Accretions. So I'm going to vote that we just upgrade this. I don't see a lot of reason to not want my decoctions to be up as good as they can be. And we will find more nest silt down the path.
Still impressive.
Let's check our map here real quick. Alright. Yeah, let's hit this on the way past. Oh, that's actually taking us up towards... Like, I feel like we're coming up on a village, a little hamlet of some kind. Do I... How do I feel about coming up here? This sort of exploration is why, more often than not, there's a few dolls that I haven't found, but this is how you find those haunted dolls. It's just taking a quick look around places as you go. By the way, Crow, unless I missed it, I don't believe that App streamed yesterday. I've definitely not visited this field. I'm just curious if he'll be streaming tomorrow or if Tuesday is his next day on. I'd love to be able to let people know when folks are live. A lot of that, by the way, a lot of the, like, I don't want to know too much about this before I go in. I don't remember if I've ever specified this. Most of you have probably heard of a little film that fans like to call Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Little indie project, not everybody's aware of it, but most people have at least heard of it in passing. Well, I am old and wretched enough that I was alive when that movie came out, and also I remember knowing about 75% of the plot before opening day. Now, this was before the internet, but the marketing for that movie was so over the top that you didn't even have to try very hard to know major plot elements in the movie. Which one was the good versus the bad Terminator? Who was in the movie? What were some of the major plot points that were going to be covered? And although I watched the movie in the theater with all my friends and we all really liked it, and I would say to this day it's just a really, really good movie, it is hard now not to look back and be like, boy, that would have been a better experience if I didn't know so much about it going in, if I didn't know the name and identity of every character that was going to appear in it. So that's one of the things that I think about when, like, the Baldur's Gate 3 character screen is like, hey, you can click on all these character intros and, like, learn all about them. It's like, well, aren't they going to introduce themselves at some point? Wouldn't I rather have that experience? But no, this is my, like, internal malfunction. The developers...
What now?
I can't help you from here.
I'll deal with it quickly.
Yeah. No, the last time that we had no Antea for a fight, it was oh, the Ghost Ward was right there the whole time. Let's see if we can find it. And I can try to settle these guys without her. No, we can't go through there. That's a yell door. Well, regrettably, I don't see a Ghost Ward anyplace.
They brought more.
Have some of this.
All right. Yeah, the reason I ran around so much is that, again, last time that happened, I was like, oh, I guess this is a new challenge. I'll have to do the fight without Antea. And then looked for 5 seconds and immediately saw that the... Not immediately. I found that the Ghost Ward was right there, and suddenly it was Antea's back. Like, right away, she gets to rejoin the fight. Okay, so now we can get in and get that chest. Let's remember to do that. Dawn is also old enough to remember, Terminator 2. Crossing possibly Monday, but definitely Tuesday. Platform Platypus says that was the movie starring Alfred Schwarzenhammer. I think that's it. Whose catchphrase was, "I shall return shortly." What was his big catchphrase? Oh yeah, and the catchphrases. That was another thing. Just like so much information about like what the big catchphrase push was going to be in the game, in the movie rather. So we can't yell.
Sorry, not this time.
Hasta la bye bye. When we were like right around that same age, there was a game for the Super Nintendo. I think it was called Sunset Riders. And my friends and I didn't have it, but my friend HW did. Like I said, we go way back. And so we would always play like co-op multiplayer together. And the very first boss in the game, when you beat him, would go, "Hasta la bye bye." And we started playing it.
Yes. Something's here.
I think somewhat after Terminator 2 came up, so it always seemed very, very goofy that it was hasta la bye bye. I think I've said this at some point as well, but can you imagine being Linda Hamilton's twin sister? Like, she has an identical twin sister, and that must be very annoying for her. She has all of the burden of celebrity, of being recognized and bothered, and oh, I loved you in this and that, but none of the benefits of, like, the money.
Yes. I'm going to need a hand here.
How much of her life has she spent telling, no, I'm Laura Hamilton. I have no idea what her name is, and I vote that we don't look it up because she probably very much wants to be left alone. For all I know, she finds it wonderful. Like, she's very enchanted to be mistaken for her very famous sister all the time. But I kind of feel like...
I'm at your side again.
People like to be themselves. February 20th, 1694. So this is last February, more than a year ago. Will and I argue the frost is not yet lifted and we will be late in planting. This winter has not been easy, and if there is no harvest next winter, next winter shall be worse. February 28th, how the time passes, but not the frost. March 18th, we have not yet planted and now I'm feeling unwell. I shall take to my bed and write again when I am up. That is the last entry.
It's locked. There must be a key.
And I suspect that this is one of those things that most people do know, but like Linda Hamilton's twin sister makes a cameo in the director's cut of Terminator 2 because they do a whole sequence where they're performing like cranial surgery on Alfred Schwarzenhammer, and in order to do the reverse shots without catching the camera, there's no actual mirror there. They have Linda Hamilton, I think it's Linda Hamilton in the foreground, Alfred in the background. There's a body double for Alfred in the foreground facing into the mirror, and then Linda Hamilton's twin sister is being the other, what's-her-face? What's-her-face? John Connor's mom. I should probably know her name. Mrs. John Connor. What the hell is her name? Hold on. Hold on. Laura Connor? No, see, now I'm all messed up with Linda Hamilton's. Shit. Sarah Connor. Okay. It took me a second. And also then Dawn did answer the question. You want to know, I was trying to think of, like, Kyle Reese. I was trying to think of him, like, saying, like, talking to her, trying to identify her. Are you Sarah Connor? By the way, since the topic of Terminator has come up for no reason, I will again throw out a plug for the excellent Sarah Connor Chronicles. Yeah, it's even more embarrassing, by the way, that I couldn't remember her name. The Sarah Connor Chronicles is really good. I will share what might be an unpopular take, but one that I will take to my grave, that Terminator Dark Fate was an awesome movie. I really liked Terminator Dark Fate. That is for... Oh, wait. Yep. Yeah, I didn't go get that. I'm glad that I came over here. I'm not going to say that everybody else in the world is going to like Terminator Dark Fate, but that movie rocked my socks. I thought that movie was awesome. Prior to that, the Sarah Connor Chronicles was officially Terminator 3, because every other Terminator project was somewhere between very, very funny, like Terminator Genesis, or just completely forgettable, like that Christian Bale movie that I can never actually remember the name of. Well, then Terminator Dark Fate comes out, and like, no, that movie's balls to the wall. That movie's awesome. Oh no, Grumpy's unsubbing. Is this... Wait, which of my hot takes is this? Is this the fact that I like Sarah Connor Chronicles, which a lot of people don't like? By the way, it's a really great reason to not like something. A lot of people, in my experience, don't like it because they saw that Brian Austin Green is in it. Yeah, and he's really good in it, as is Lena Headey and, the woman who plays River Tam. I do not remember her name right now. I really should, because she's very good in it. And then the dude who played John Connor in that was also really good. And like, why haven't I seen him in more things good? Grumpy says that Dark Fate was sad. I don't know. I really like that one. Faith is dead. And also in the game, Faith is dead. And now, these creatures are roaming around our farm. I barely escaped and found refuge here on the heights, but I don't know how long I can hold out. No one will come for me. Oh, Lord, have mercy. So let's assume that Faith was the person who wrote the diary. I shall rise again. I shall write again when I'm feeling better. So that was probably her husband. I assume he set up that barricade to stop the dead from getting him. Although the dead have also... Well, okay, the dead that attack Red and Antea have all sorts of projectile weapons. The ones that sort of, like, lurch around tend to be more the Bone Walker variety when they're attacking other people. Okay, is there... This is a down. So one thing about this game is that I can't actually see, but I'm pretty sure that if I jump down there, I don't get back up. And there's very little reason for me to do that. Yeah, there's Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines, which really wanted to be a Terminator 2. And, like, there's worse things to want to try to be, but it just wasn't. It wasn't going to be Terminator 2 again. And this just leads me back to where I came from. Why I don't want to jump down. What was the purpose of all of this? And Taya, give me a heads up. Where am I supposed to get to? And then there was that Christian Bale movie, which was, it was like fine. It is like, the Christian Bale Terminator movie is the textbook definition of film. They aimed a camera at people doing things, and the people that were doing things were delivering lines within range of the camera and microphones. And then some editors sat down and edited it all together so that the story would be comprehensible to the people that watched it. That is the entire plot line of the Christian Bale Terminator movie. It was fine. It was an okay example of film. And then Terminator Genesis, which I secretly, actually, not so secretly, but I actually really, really like Terminator Genesis because it is goofy as shit. It's just so funny. Explore the Harrows. I am not sure what I have not done in this area. Are we supposed to go up here then? Because we do see a little dashed line there. Like, if you haven't had the pleasure, Terminator Genesis is, it feels, see, now people are going to get mad at me if I say this, because it's not a Bill and Ted movie, but it takes the same sort of tack as a Bill and Ted movie, where the cause of and solution to all of our problems is time travel. So let's just, everyone's time traveling at all moments. It's just, it is a very silly movie. And the thing is, it's silly in a way that's good-natured and entertaining and absolutely held my interest. So while at the end of it, I say, wow, that was a very silly movie, at least I still had a lot of fun watching it.
Here.
Incredible. Beautiful, too.
Yeah, we'll check out the ship. Okay, what were you guys saying? Big ship. Got it. Oh, this is not a way to get down. Okay. And by the way, like, Lena Headey, I think that's how you say her name, was in Sarah Connor Chronicles before she was on...
What? Think you can fend for yourself?
Game of Thrones. Wasn't it Emilia Clarke? I think Emilia Clarke was in Terminator Genesis. Though I don't know if that was before or after she was becoming famous for Game of Thrones.
This isn't over yet.
I don't want to go into that, damn it. All I'm saying is that there's a lot of talent happening in and around the Terminator franchise. The thing they've never been starved for is good talent. Okay, not looking to do that.
Enough.
Why did that miss? That felt like it was dead on target.
Picking up something spectral nearby.
Yeah, there are, in my memory, there are no Terminator projects that I've seen that had a bad cast. It's just the quality of the story writing varied pretty widely. I would have loved to see more movies from, like, because the Christian Bale movie and then the Terminator Genesis were each supposed to be like part one of a brand new trilogy. And especially Terminator Genesis, I would have liked to see more movies from the creative team that put that together. Maybe they wouldn't have been as funny, but I don't know. I feel like I would have enjoyed it. And by the way, like, the movie, just for clarity, was not supposed to be
Something
funny.
has me. Wards.
It's not like The Predator, which is clearly intended to be a comedy.
Red, I can't manifest anymore.
But sometimes that's the best sort, where you're like, oh no, they were serious. they meant it. So I'm not sure where the ghost ward is, but the zone of control is pretty low. So maybe we can see it from up here and shoot it on the other side of the stone.
You're on your own.
Here's the thing. These rocks, I'm pretty sure that this is a yell zone for Antea. So I need to find the blue or purple glimmering thing like we did during the combat there and break it. I don't know where it is yet. Okay, before we activate that, I'm really looking for any place that that ghost ward can be. We've got sort of like an area of effect. So it's got to be at the heart of the zone that Antea can't manifest, and that is it's like she's on the outer edge of it. Grumpy, did Moo have any opinions on Terminator Dark Fate? Is this a universal opinion there in the Mumphy household? Also, Crow, I'm really glad that App is having a good time with no. Andromeda. Wow, I had the name in my head as I started the sentence, and then it fell right out. Yeah, App has been playing Mass Effect Andromeda. I am glad that he's having a good time with it. I remain of the opinion that if that game came out as it was, with, like, you know, some palette swaps around, and it was called something other than Mass Effect, I feel like it would have picked up a pretty good cult following, and especially the quality of the combat would have turned some heads. However, it was coming in hot off the heels of... It was coming in as part of an established and beloved franchise, so when it wasn't exactly that, people judged it more harshly than I feel like it deserved.
A fishing boat, eh?
'Cause that's more plausible than a galleon.
Crow saying that it was a bit of a rough start, especially with the setup and the skills, but now he loves it. Yeah, the weirdest thing was when App... I don't think we talked about this in the previous episode. When App was getting started, he went into the character selection, and he
Something's here.
Hidden.
Well, hold on. I'm gonna get some reading here. Sailor's Diary, page number 2. 21st of March, 1672. I miss Alice and the Childer. I pray we return in haste. Our barrels full. For some reason unknown to me, today I think of our late Gillian. 23rd of March. A fin. We gave chase, but the creature dived. All is quiet once more. 29th of March. We have taken not a whale, but the captain has us singing all the same. 5th of April. Some would hit the captain over the head and steer for home. The fools will surely hang. 10th of April, nary a whale. The captain should watch out. 14th of April, the food is running low and we shall make for home, or the captain shall take a hammer to the head. That last one doesn't sound so tolerant of the captain anymore.
Adventure. Sounds fun.
You're such a little boy sometimes.
at the beginning of his playthrough, App very clearly selected what he wanted his like training, his early training skills to be. And then he went in and verified that it was there and checked. And then when he got into the game, it was suddenly something different. And I think that it was, hey, isn't that K, correctly pointed out, because I went back to review the footage myself. It was when he went back in to check it. He only wanted to see that it was correct. And from what I could see, pressed no buttons that should have changed it. However, like, the cursor went over a different skill set, so when he exited out, I think that it interpreted that as being like, oh, he wants to change that character class. So that was very disorienting. And, like, the thing was, I watched him do it. Like, I was 100%...
Wasn't I always?
Clear on what he had selected. So we've got assist. Sorry. We've got assist there. We've got assist there. What I don't have is the heart yet. So when he was like looking for his skills and being like, well, what was the point of choosing the starting skills? I thought I was misinterpreting what was going on, because like I literally watched what he chose, and it wasn't until he like opened it back up and showed like, no, you guys, I don't have the skill set that I chose, that I started with. But the good news is, and I don't know if he's done this because I haven't been able to see like catch up on the VODs. Andromeda is another game that makes it very, very affordable to respec. So if you want to mix up your build and do something different, or in this case, correct for your starting skills, I think you can do that. I'm not sure. Because, again, I was just adept all the way through. I do not see... There it is. Okay. Okay, I need to try to find a space where I can hit this. It's possible that this is not something that I'm supposed to do right now. We are outside the quest zone. So yeah, this might be a comeback later, but what a weird one it is. Okay, we definitely cannot see it from anywhere over here. And this feels custom made to stop us from shooting it from here. Even when it's red. Even when the little dot turns red. No. I have to assume that this is meant for us to approach from a different angle. So we should probably just leave. Or maybe this is the angle from which we should approach it. Oops. That might have affected a change, but we
I take the heart, you take the roots.
Okay, so from here, we light that up. Then we go... Ugh. 1. I would have sworn I'd already seen all 3. We've got 1 in there. We've got 2 right here. And then 3 is... there. Okay. Blah. No, there's 4? Oh, no, I'm really boned.
Did I ever mention how good we are together?
Yeah. It's always good to hear.
I knew I saw one more. Like, we smashed open something and I could see it. Okay, so that'll be a fast way back up here. I honestly, just for the record, I don't know why we're exploring.
Rotten. It makes me nervous.
We're mostly exploring the ship at this exact moment because it's a ship and we can look around inside of it and it's cool. Also, Red seems very on board for it. I can't tell if we're going to be able to go in there later. It's a lot of interesting stuff back there for us to not be able to interact with. Like, there's a globe back there. We might be able to clamber in that window if we can find a way around. But for being up here, I feel like this is it. That's back downstairs. And this is the rope that we tied off. Okay. Oh, this isn't a climb out. Okay. I thought that we'd climb out there and then maybe go around the edge, but no. Alright, we'll go down this rope. And now we're outside the ship again. We do have a fast way to get back upstairs, but since I have no other known business in there, we will just go. No, nothing over there. That's right, you guys. The whole thing, I was looking for a ghost ward. I completely forgot to keep looking for that. Well, let's clear this up.
These remains call for a ritual and a lot of caution.
Turn out and turn up!
This isn't over yet.
So, Angry Fisherman is doing things that we've not seen previous enemies do.
Reinforcements!
I think I jumped directly into that punch. Hold on.
Away with you!
I thought I saw... yeah.
Call on me.
Okay, happy for the elite gem, since we need some of those for our next round of upgrades. But that sort of leads us back to... oh, there's another one of those. This sort of leads us back to... I can't get through this wall. Wait, where was it?
Beware.
This wall.
Wards.
Yeah. Because there's a ghost ward around and I can't get there. Now, I don't... did I see this jump over before? Because I don't remember going over here. Maybe I did. Doesn't feel familiar. walk direct into the secret
Whatever
garden.
grip it is the nightmare has here, you'd never know by looking.
Yeah, I'd like to visit a place like that. It seems very picturesque. Crow or Dawn or anybody, have you guys yourselves played Mass Effect Andromeda? I should also say this. There's a lot of criticism out there of Mass Effect Andromeda that is completely fair and warranted, especially with its original, the original form of its release, which was technically unsteady. And I personally had the experience of feeling like I was being reintroduced to a lot of Mass Effect lore from the first 3 games.
Who's that?
Yes. Something's here.
Perhaps more than I thought was necessary for a game that's about a new start and doing something new. But on the whole, like if anything, I guess here's my very spoiler-free thoughts on Mass Effect Andromeda, where I feel like a lot of people are like, this is too far removed from what we liked about Mass Effect. I sort of take the tack that if it had been further away, if it had really been a new start, if it had been about Solarians and Asaris and Krogans and humans and Turians, and they sort of like have their particular traits and relationships, but focus more on like, let's have a new story rather than a lot of like retrospection on the stories that have already happened. I personally also think that that would have been pretty
Bridges
good.
up. Wonder why.
To keep folk in, or to keep something out?
So we need a way to lower that for sure. Go. Crow is saying that...
Me, or...
I felt it too.
Ah, here we go. Crow is saying that she has not played it, but her brother loved it. And he played it when it came out. So I did not. I know I've seen enough videos and memes and other stuff about what it was like when it came out. But yeah, if that state was not enough, like here's my example of that. I played Batman Arkham Knight when that came out on PC, a version so broken that it was actually delisted from the like Steam Marketplace for a while. But I had picked it up before that happened, and I played it all the way through, and I loved it. And I didn't have any technical problems, like, at all. The game ran rock solid for me all the way through. Never had any performance issues, no crashes, nothing. I was one of the lucky ones, I guess. I have to assume that there are human beings living across this bridge. I'm somewhat surprised that Red firing his gun repeatedly in the direction of their village hasn't brought a little bit more attention. But then again, maybe we'll get across here and this place will be besieged by the dead, just like Fort Jericho was. Come to think of it, I mean, put another way, it's that same, like, oh, we're doing more Alien movies, and every Alien movie is about xenomorphs. We're doing more Dead Space, and every Dead Space game is about necromorphs. It's like that's sort of how I felt about Mass Effect Andromeda. It's in a completely new galaxy, and we're gonna chat about the Krogan genophage.
There might be a way to open this door from the other side.
you know, Turian military service and stuff. And it's like, I like that stuff too. Come on, really? There we go. And it's like, I don't think that those things should go away. I'm just not sure that... I feel like there's room to maybe make them secondary to the new focus about all the new people that we're going to meet and stuff. And I feel like Andromeda is absolutely at its best when it's doing exactly that. There's some great stuff in Andromeda, and it's mostly when the game and the developers felt free to, like, let's do our own thing. Let's really have a new sense of discovery where there's entire, like, everything is brand new. This is not a universe that your character was born into and, you know, knows everything and just, like, open up the codex and learn about it. They're going to go someplace where everything is completely new. They're going to be writing the codex as they go. That's the stuff that really makes Andromeda sing. That and, like, the vehicle stuff is really good and the combat is awesome. Hello to Kaz! My Sunday has been very good. We're probably wrapping up pretty soon. I was hoping to do more investigations or get to the plot, but it turns out that there's a ton of stuff on our way to the Harrows. So we're not currently on a story, except for the purposes of we're heading towards where the story will be. Crow is also saying that her brother has played it a few times more recently. It would be a fun game to revisit, mostly for going through it as a completely different class. Just because the best way that I have to describe what it feels like to actually play Mass Effect Andromeda. So New Edentown is back that way. The Dark Woods is over to the left. God's Acre might be on the way, and then Covenant Beach is over there. When I was playing Mass Effect Andromeda, I felt like my character was actually able to do the things that had previously only been presented in Mass Effect cutscenes. Specifically, as an adept, I felt like I was able to do things that, like, Samara would do in a cutscene, except now I could do those things in actual combat. And I like the Mass Effect trilogy. I've been speaking well of it right here and talking about, like, you know, Mass Effect Andromeda needed to maybe, like, chart its own course because it just wasn't going to be that. But boy, does Andromeda feel good to actually play. Kaz, I hope that you've also had a good Sunday. Hopefully relaxing. If you live in the United States, hopefully not too rough on the daylight savings time.
From the invisible.
We are nearly in town. We see anything else cool on the way in? Oh, and by the way, remember that wall that we couldn't smash open because of the Ghost Ward? Now I feel like that's going to be a shortcut that we unlock by simply approaching it from the other direction. Okay, is there... I feel like... Yeah, let's... Wait, am I heading towards the gate? Yes. Although, boy, that looked like the way in over there, maybe. But let's see what we find over this way. I'm gonna try the front door.
The village is full of ghost wards. They're afraid of something.
Leave them up. Cause no trouble.
Okay.
Oh there! Anyone home?
Where did they go?
Just taking note of that ghost ward up above this building, too.
The well, recently sealed. Below, it feels off.
Smells off too.
We did look in there, yeah, we already checked there. Apparently nothing of interest posted up. What I'd love to see is, like, as we're going along, just, like, furtive little movements inside the windows as the people, like, move away from the windows. Maybe if we steal all their stuff, we'll be able to
find the key to open this.
Coax them out. Go. Fox McCloud says, "Keep that well sealed." I know where this goes. They're gonna pull it off, and it's just gonna be a giant Resident Evil style alligator down there. Oh, guys, do you think that this is the treasure chest that I was mentioning in the previous episode? It might be, but we can't get to the bottom of it right now. I cannot Antea. I do hear voices.
Aye, Fairfax Haskell, though it bring demons down in great wrath upon my soul, do pray that my faith and yours and the faith of all good Christian souls of New Eden be fent. Friends, find fortitude in our success. Exiled from our homes by the devil's machinations, we congregate before the Lord in this new meeting house. We gather, we worship, we overcome. And we shall be well protected by the holy ward my son now makes under my instruction. For I have spent hours countless in your service, poring through books and papers, devouring the oeuvre of my peers, that our meeting house be safe.
Fairfax Haskell, for whom the word pompous was invented.
Half-built? Yes. Open to the four winds? Yes. But already it is resplendent with our faith. A shining reminder of our renewed belief in better days. McCraith, Mr. McCraith. I thought you. What happy portent, what most excellent news. What blessings. I applaud your valorous deeds. O fate, I say, dead sir, I thought you dead.
Maybe I am.
Do not make light of such matters, my friend, for the devil's wrath is wide awake, and his claw scratches at our door, metaphorically speaking.
I'm alive. I promise.
My friends, I shall deliver this sermon another time. The battle with the devil's legions is ongoing, and Mr. McCraith and I have much to discuss. Thank you, Lammy. Behold this miracle of ours, Mr. McCraith. Exiled we, yet in our darkest hour we find the moral vigour to build this humble monument to resilience. But you and I must speak of darker matters. For we, erudite men of higher learning, know that evil yet walks. There is much work to be done.
Indeed there is.
Yes, yes. Forgive the inelegance of my welcome. You are alone. Do I surmise that Miss Duarte is no more?
I'd rather not talk about it.
Blessed is the man in whose spirit there is no guile. When I kept silence, my bones waxed old through my roaring all the day long. I'm so sorry for your loss. Grief is a journey, long and painful, but you do not walk the road alone, I promise you.
Oh, I know. I know.
In time, God healed my wounds. May you too find peace. Now, I regret that even at this most burdensome time for you, I must move with haste to business and beg once more for your help.
As we're going forward, hello to Nikolai Save. Sorry, you came in just at the top of a cutscene. The first one of the, the episode, too.
How may I help?
One among us deals with the devil. The colony suffers grave misfortune, and, I am ashamed to say, the evil comes from within. You and I share great expertise, but I am a man of position, while you, sir, are much more familiar with field work. Go, meet my people, walk amongst them, learn which of them secretly serves the demon, that we may expunge this evil malady from our body politic.
Is a witch hunt wise? Here, now?
It is not just wise, 'tis imperative. This servant of the devil has delivered a pestilence unto my people. The black spy himself desires our destruction. First with sickness of the flesh, and then, when we are down, with sickness of the spirit. It pits one against the other. Suspicion tears this community apart once again. All this to weaken my people and lead them away from the light of God.
What makes you think there's a witch at work here?
Aye, sir, I'm a man of God and intellect. I can read the signs. When a so-called mystery disease afflicts half of my people overnight, there can be only one culprit. 'Tis the devil's doing, sir. Probably through one of his servants. For you see, I understood immediately that the water in the well had been tainted. There are no strangers here. You could self-accept it. No one has fled. The guilty woman, or man, I suppose, remains within the village. As evil walks, the evil are emboldened, but this witch shall see her downfall. Or his, of course. As did the last one. As will the next. Some years ago, you may have heard tell of this. I made my name on the execution of a terrible witch. It pains me that I must do it once more.
This illness, tell me of it.
Upon my arrival here in the Harrows, I immediately set about protecting the place with consecrated tokens. Safeguarded from the curse, we all felt safer, for a time. Then some devil poisoned the well, our only source of water. Someone on the inside, mind.
Spoiled water proves nothing.
A wise point and well made, Banisher, if not for the fact that we have been, for months on end, under the obvious influence of a terrible curse. One way or another, the devil has found an agent among us. And who knows what nefarious ill-doing old Black Spy plans next.
I noted your ghost wards with some interest.
Ghost Wards, an interesting name. I call them sanctifiers, a name more palatable to my flock.
This requires a great deal of occult knowledge. Where did you learn your craft?
Etienne Roulet, one of the greatest demonologists of our time, is a good friend of mine. I improved upon his work.
Why did you not use them in New Eden when the curse began?
It was more complicated to convince the whole congregation of the necessity to use magic. Here, people have more trust in my unmovable probity.
This guy seems much crazier than the last time that we met him.
A man in your position must know what goes on in his own community.
Why, of course, I know all that there is to know. Or near enough. Ask your questions, sir. Ask away.
How did you, a man of position and faith, become a demonologist?
Ah, yes. If you'll indulge me for a moment, I shall explain, in the briefest manner possible. Though blessed with intellect and no little faith, I also had privilege. I had the means for an education, time and place with which to study. For a time, my father was a pupil of Henry Boggart, the great demonologist. He had the books, I had the aptitude. When he passed, I donned his mantle. My father taught me about duty. I have gifts, faith, intellect, position. I must protect them. I must use them to protect my people. This is my duty. This is my burden.
Jesus Christ.
Your son, how would you describe him?
Lamentation? How would I describe him? Well, he's curious. Inquisitive, I mean, as opposed to peculiar. Although he has his moments there, too. I tried to teach him demonology, to make him the third generation of witch hunters. But he revealed no disposition. Occult knowledge could only obfuscate his good nature. At heart, he is a naive boy who reads a lot and doesn't say much.
How goes the colony?
Sir, the body politic bears a heavy weight. Not content with weakening their flesh, the devil's evil attacks the people's hearts and minds. Until you expose the culprit, the harmony of this divinely beautiful commonwealth shall remain marred by suspicion and mistrust. Long story shortened, people are not getting along.
I am no witch hunter. My business is with the lingering dead.
For a fee, yes, I know. But you can't deny evil practitioners exist. A few years ago, I had to cleanse this community from such a threat.
Do you mean Deborah?
You know a little already, I gather. Yes. Deborah, the crooked school teacher. When Deborah showed her true nature, I was proud to pass judgment upon her. She earned her punishment. Her mask was a good one, as if butter would not melt upon her tongue. But you cannot fool a man of faith and intellect. No, sir, you cannot.
You'll not mind me saying it, but for a Puritan paradise, you seem to get more than your fair share of witches.
God has not forsaken us, but someone here does the devil's work. Find me a witch, Mr. McCraith. Return this place to the Lord.
I'm a working man, Governor, but the Lord does seem happy to pay, so I'll do what I can. I'll take my leave of you, Governor.
Of course. Outside, you must take the stairs. While you're with us, the first house on the left shall be your home.
So we absolutely met Fairfax Haskell when we first arrived in New Eden. And at that time, I would have described him as being
Another witch hunt.
Deborah's anger persists. Maybe she's the witch.
as far as like the well being poisoned and stuff like that, I hadn't honestly considered any possibility except Deborah and the nightmare based on what we've seen so far, but...
'Tis our honour you're here, sir.
Be right with you.
Ghost Ward. I think you can safely knock it over. The ward's power is gone.
What I was going to say is that I would have described Fairfax Haskell as a sober man of some intellect and curiosity who was grappling with a very, very challenging situation and severely sleep deprived, but otherwise willing to work alongside the Banishers to find a solution. Someone who cared for the community and was maybe doing his best to hold the three-person council of himself, Thickskin, and Captain Pennington together, even though they weren't able to agree on very much. That they were working towards some sort of an understanding, and if they couldn't do it, then having the Banishers, turning things over to the Banishers would be the next best way to do it. This man is just mad as a hatter. I mean, he's just endlessly thundering about how awesome he is and his great and terrible responsibility to watch out for the people. And yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong about that, sir, but to say it like 3 or 4 times in a specific conversation seems like a lot. Let's read this, since I didn't realize it was codex entries we picked it up. Also, Fox McCloud is voting to shoot him in the leg and take him down a few pegs. Yeah, shooting him in the leg might make him realize that he is still capable of taking wounds. He hasn't quite ascended to godhood yet. He's well on his way, though. Did I already write about the winter that never ended? Sometimes I lose track of time. This is the reason why I keep these pages, until the day I'll give them to the wind, to witness of what happened to us. 1694, sickness upon us. Chicken died first, then the calves and the lambs. Crops were bad in the summer. Autumn was gray and cold. Old people started to die. I remember, I think it was in October when we buried the Hutchinson. A whole family taken by the disease in 2 days, children and adults all alike. Then there was the fire on the docks, or was it before? It is hard to remember anymore. Fear rose and the decision was made to send the children away by precaution. The Governor Haskell ordered the children to be sent away. Thickskin, Newsmith, and Nicholas Doolin agreed to lead the young ones to Boston. It was in December. I remember it because I wrote a long page in my journal that day, the 7th of December. Cold was already terrible by then, and it only went worse since. Spring never came. According to my notes, we were already in May, and snow and ice is everywhere. Our only visitor for all these months is that French friend of the governor, Etienne Roulet, and even him cannot leave now. Minister Davenport has ceased to conduct prayers and guidance in the meeting house. The survivors are all hungry and cold. Soon help should arrive by boat, Banishers from Europe. I wonder if they will ever be able to leave like the rest of us. Lucy B. I'm trying to remember if we've met Lucy. I have a vague sense that we did, and I'm just not placing the name right now. We will absolutely go and talk to the settlers. Let me just take a quick look at this as well. That's our King James Bible. And that is everything in here. Talking to the settlers, though, is going to need to be a topic for our next episode. The structure of this. Let's save over this one. Yeah, we'll go over the older one for now. But yeah, we covered a lot of ground. That was wrapping up the last of the epilogue chapters that we have access to there in and around the Dark Woods and Fort Jericho, and then, yeah, now we've made it down into the Harrows, and the good news is we are going to be able to do this entire quest line. I really thought that this was going to be locked off for a future playthrough, so this is awesome. We will conduct our investigation into the witch, I'm sure, of whatever the name of this place is. Suddenly we haven't been introduced to the name of it. Fairfaxville, we'll call it for now. And that will most likely happen somewhat later in the week, where I would guess Thursday will be the most likely day that we can do that. On our way out, I hope that everybody living in the United States has an easy entry into daylight savings time, what would daylight standard time, whatever we're heading into now, whatever it's called, because I know that it's a tough transition for a lot of people, myself included. Otherwise, we will see you hopefully tomorrow for possibly some Persona or maybe another stream, and then we'll be revisiting this at the next opportunity. Thank you so much, you guys, for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. I had some freewheeling topics to discuss and just sort of ran through them. Until next time, thank you so much, and I hope you have a great evening.